Okay, so everyone, we are now going to be solving with integers. The first is multiplying and dividing integers, and the rules are with the same signs, we are going to have a positive results or positive result. With different signs, it's going to be negative result. So as in the first example, negative 5 times a negative 3 is going to be a positive 15. I may or may not put the parentheses. If you want to put the parentheses, you're okay to put it. You're not required to do so. So once again, same signs going to be positive as this became. Okay, so for my next example that is 7 times negative 2. So the answer is negative 14 because the signs are different. All right, so for my next example, we are going to go from left to right, and this is going to be negative 3 times a negative 7. Okay, very good. This is going to come up as positive 21. Positive 21, if we're going to write that down, positive 21 times a negative 2 is going to become a negative 42. So that's your answer. Negative 42 is your answer. For my next example, I do not want to disregard positive numbers because I want you to understand that this rule is applied to even when you were in the elementary, you have been doing it. So if you have, let's say, a positive 2 times a positive 9, both are positive, so your answer is a positive 18. So the rule still applies. Positive times a positive is a positive. Okay, my next example now is on division of integers. I'm showing here a negative numerator and the positive denominator. So negative 12 divided by a positive 6 is going to give you a negative, and that's a 2. Why? Because the signs are different. I am not required to put a positive sign here, but y'all should know that there is a positive sign there. Okay, so for my next example on division, I am showing a negative 24 divided by negative 3. The signs are the same, so you're going to have a positive 8. Again, there's a positive sign there that I am not required to put. All right, my next example is a positive 25 divided by a negative 5. Signs are different, and so your final answer is a negative 5. Since I do not want to disregard the positive signs, I'm going to give it to you. And so what if we have a positive 18 divided by a positive 2? Again, the rule applies that if you have the same signs, your answer is going to be a positive, and that is going to be a positive 9. We are now going to move on to addition of integers. The rules are, if the signs are the same, you're going to add and then copy the sign of the common sign of the two numbers or the numbers. If the signs are different, you are going to subtract and copy the sign of the larger number. Okay, so what I have here is negative 6 plus negative 3 plus negative 11. Again, I'm not required to put the parentheses, but if you want to put it, then you may. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're just going to add them together, and I think I'm counting 820, and then the common sign is negative, and it's negative 20. My next one is negative 11 plus 4, and so the signs are different. You'll have to subtract, and that is a 7. The sign of the larger number is negative, and so this is negative 7. Since I do not want to disregard what you have learned in your younger level, let's say in the elementary, if you have 12 plus 8, that still follows the integer rule. This is a positive 12 and that is a positive 8. So just put them together and your answer is positive 20. Okay, for my last and final example, what if we have 13 positive 13 plus a negative 1. So different signs, you're going to subtract. Copy the sign of the larger number, which is a positive 12. Okay, so next to addition, we are going to discuss about subtraction, but I want to use addition of integers as a springboard to introduce the subtraction of integers. So before we go there, I want to emphasize this to you. If you see a plus negative, it means minus. Okay, so I want you to remember that. If you see a plus negative, it is the same as minus. So we now go to subtraction of integers. Subtraction of integers has a very elaborate rule. And so because of that, I'm going to try a different strategy with you. I am going to see if you can get this by merely looking at the examples I'm giving. So whenever you're subtracting integers, what I want you to focus on and what I want you to remember is the addition rule. Addition rule means if the signs are different, you're going to go ahead and subtract them. If the signs are the same, you're going to go ahead and put them together and add them, because that is the basis for the subtraction of integers. So with this said, I want you to focus on my example. That's a negative 5 and a negative 2. And I want you to think of it this way. This is negative 5, and you're putting it together with a negative 2. And I know that this is read as negative 5 minus 2, but if we're going to take it by chunk and by term, this term and that term, it's going to be negative 5 and negative 2 together. So when negative 5 and negative 2 are together, you know it's negative 7. Okay, so my next example is 8 minus 10, and I want to use the strategy where I'm chunking the terms. So this has a positive in the front. I'm not required to put it, but if you want just for clarity, I'm going to put it right there. There's a positive 8 there, and that is a chunk, and this is a chunk, and we have a negative 8, a positive 8 and a negative 10 together. So with them being together, you know that they will subtract because one is positive, one is negative. They will subtract and you're going to copy the sign of the bigger number. So it's going to be a negative 2. Okay, I want to try out with you a very lengthy example. It's negative 6 minus 4 minus 5 minus 2. We will use the same strategy. We're going to chunk this like that's that, this is that, this is this, this is this. So actually, I have them all put together and there's no different signs. So therefore, we are not going to be subtracting. This is just putting them all together. So negative 6 and negative 4 and negative 5 and negative 2 together is a total of negative 17. Okay, I drew a line here because I wanted to not anymore just concentrate on the subtraction. I want to combine my subtraction and addition with the same principle of chunking them per term. So we're going to go ahead and chunk this as our positive 10. This is now going to be a negative 4, positive 6, negative 3, and positive 1. We're going to put them together. So now, let's do left to right. So 10 positive minus 4 is a positive 6. I'm putting that down just for you to see it. And then I'm going to copy this down so everything is clear. Okay? So, chunking. So that is going to be a total of 12. This right here is a total of 12. And it's positive still. So I'm going to put down my negative 3 plus 1. I'm chunking this and chunking this together. All right. We all know that different signs will no longer be combined. Different signs will subtract from each other. So this is a bigger number than the negative 3. So this right here is going to come out as a positive 9 plus a 1 and chunk. That's going to be a positive 10.